Welcome in once again, everybody, to Titans Tube. My name is Justin, and with me, as always, is Jake. And Jake, Titans Tube is in the playoffs, and that's only because the Titans have made it to the playoffs. At 11-5, they've won the AFC South, and they're going to be facing an old foe that has become a recent foe. This rivalry has been reborn, and it is alive and well now with these Baltimore Ravens coming into Nashville to take on the Titans for the third time in this calendar year. Wait, no, it's 2021 now. The calendar flipped over. Sorry. I could say, in the last 365 days. That
there
counts.
You go. That works.
Yeah, so this Baltimore Ravens team, man, again, we are going to be facing them. So a lot of like storylines, kind of coming into this game due to obviously the playoff upset last year, but then going into the last game back in November, there was that on-field spat where the Titans were jumping around on the logo. Harbaugh didn't like it. Some of our players were talking to Harbaugh and John at him, and then Vrabel comes along and has words with Harbaugh as well. Maybe a handshake at the end. It was very brief. I don't know. There was some drama, but again, these two teams don't like each other, Jake. So this is going to be a dogfight. I'm expecting nothing less between these two teams. What do you make of this, Jake? Baltimore.
It's incredible. Playoff time. Yes, Titans Tube, this channel itself, has made it to the playoffs. We would like to congratulate ourselves on a great year, 11-5 record. Go us. But dude, I am so excited about this matchup. I know a lot of people are worried about the Baltimore Ravens. They're one of the hotter teams in the NFL. This and that, and looking at the statistics and teams on paper, you think this might be a shootout. This could be a dogfight, man. I mean, it could be high. It probably will be high scoring, but it is going to be a dogfight, physical football game, and you love to see it. I think Vrabel's going to bring that energy, that kind of rivalry type energy, back to this game. Just a little quick note, Justin, for optimism for Titans fans who are a little worried about this Baltimore Ravens team.
Bring it on.
Yeah, no doubt. So the Baltimore Ravens have won their last 5 games to get into these playoffs. Now, yes, that's very impressive to win 5 straight games in the National Football League. But if you look down that schedule, Justin, it's not against great competition. So going back to all these 5 games, started with the 6-10 Dallas Cowboys with Andy Dalton that's behind under center. And then the second game was the Lamar cramp poop game kind of thing. Great game. I'm not going to take that win away from them. That was a fantastic almost game of the year.
He had some cramped poop. Yeah. So
yes,
some weird bizarreness. Yeah, but that game was insane. That was a good win. But what's up with their defense allowing 45 points? That was kind of uncharacteristic. So not a perfect defense. They can be vulnerable to a quality team.
Correct. So that Browns Monday night game was the second game of the win streak, and then you go to the third game. It's the 1-15 Jacksonville Jaguars. Then it's the 6-10 New York Giants, and then the 4-11-1 Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, they've reeled off 5 straight wins, but they've been against not great competition, Justin. So they may be rolling, but I think this Ravens team is vulnerable. And if you look back, to the last games that they've lost, it was the weird, Wednesday afternoon football against Pittsburgh where they didn't have Lamar. Obviously, that was a loss. And then if you look, the last game that Lamar Jackson has played and lost, who was it against but the Tennessee?
The Tennessee Titans. Jake, that's right. They haven't played, like you said, the best teams, but they're winning them very handily, though.
That's true.
They're winning convincingly. I mean, if you look at the Titans, we're beating a 4-12 now Texans team, 41-38, in a very nervous game coming down to the wire. But Baltimore is taking care of business, and they do, it is against the lesser competition, but they're kind of starting to regain that rhythm and that form from their 14-2 season last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, that they were dominating teams in the same fashion last year, and so now we're seeing them do it again. I think, Lamar, obviously the narrative around him is the 0-2 in the playoffs, so he's going to come ready. This team, I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to come ready. They're going to come out swinging. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of what kind of Titans team is going to show up. We've seen this Titans team come out flat, so not so many times, but, a good, uncomfortable amount of times. I'll just say that in the first half, just starting out slow. Kind of started out slow in the first game earlier against the Ravens this year, and then it was really that third quarter comeback when, we really got things rolling. So, the Ravens are pissed and they hate us. I'm sure they do for ruining
Good. I hope they do, Justin. I hope they do. It feels great to have a rival again as a Titans fan. I feel like the AFC South rivalries have kind of subsided. The Colts had us under their thumb for all those years with Andrew Luck. That wasn't much of a rivalry. We beat Jacksonville so often it's not that much fun anymore to hate them. So, let's go for Baltimore. Let's get down that list and get to these rivalries.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels so good. If you're a younger fan, whether you're a Ravens fan watching this or a Titans fan, us defeating them last year in the playoffs, plus us winning in a game in Baltimore in a thriller, dude, that doesn't even come close to touching the devastating losses that they have dealt this Titans team in the early 2000s, in the late 90s, even though it was really the early 2000s when this rivalry got on track. But dude, yeah, we still have not undid the damage and the devastation from those early losses in this franchise's history. So it's finally good to get a little bit of payback, but we still got work to do, Jake. We still got more seasons of theirs to end and to really even this thing out. But nonetheless, a huge rivalry now, and I'm here for it. And yeah, this Ravens team is still intimidating, Jake. They still have weapons. They have some scary weapons. Their rushing offense is incredible. But let's reel it back. So I'm getting a little too ahead of myself.
It's okay, man. All good.
We got to go in order of how we have this thing listed out. That Titans tube is structured like that, people. So the first thing we got, Jake, we've got this Titans passing offense coming off probably the best passing regular season in Titans history, with Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, and all these weapons that we have going against a still very quality and playmaking Ravens pass defense. So break it down for us, Jake. What do you see here in that matchup?
Definitely. And it's wild that you bring up this is maybe one of the highest flying passing offenses and, quarterback performances we've seen of the Nashville, team era since they moved from Houston. And this team is coming into the first round of the playoffs ranked 23rd in yards per game passing. We talk about all this all these crazy, offensive statistics. And obviously Ryan Tannehill's kind of that guy back there. He's not going to light up your eyes at the box score and, oh my God, he threw for 400 yards, Mahomes stats kind of thing. He's just efficient, gets it done. And with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, despite Corey Davis's rough outing against Houston, I think they're a great tandem in this passing offense. Baltimore, talk about a kind of a night and day difference from the Titans secondary. They're coming to this one 6th overall in passing yards given up in a game at 221. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of the same players that the Titans saw in the Week 11 matchup. Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, solid corner duo. And then you have Deshaun Elliott and Chuck Clark back at safety. Great group. Like you said, they make plays, opportunistic. The pass rush, Yannick Ngakoue is coming into this one as kind of questionable. I think they're expecting full health for the most part on the Ravens, and I think the Titans are kind of expecting the same thing. Barring any positive COVID tests, that's kind of a moving target, obviously, coming down the week. But Calais Campbell will be in action in this game, and that is somebody who the Titans did not see in their Week 11 matchup. So he's going to be someone to definitely watch, getting back there, causing pressure, trying to clog up the lanes for Henry, et cetera, et cetera. This game, Justin, for me, I think it's so important that Tannehill has to stay efficient. I don't think he's going to light up, obviously, the box score, as I said. But, this team is going to have to score a lot of points, I think, in this game to win. It's gonna be that kind of shootout dogfight feel. So Tannehill has to stay on it. He can't, have costly interceptions. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's been great this year on the interception front, but he has had some questionable throws, some that were dropped and things like that. So Ryan Tannehill has to play a pretty clean game. I don't know. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah. Going into this game, we kind of think it's going to be the Derrick Henry feature show. And of course, we've got to get the run game on track because that's really what helps this passing offense. But what the Ravens are gunning to do. In the offseason, there was a lot of talk about them acquiring Calais Campbell and I think a couple other pieces. And I think the talk was they're really making these moves to plan on shutting down Derrick Henry and to make sure that situation doesn't happen again. And lo and behold, first playoff game of the season, they face Derrick Henry again. Well, for the second time, because in the regular season, he he had a really good game, but it really was highlighted by that 29, 30-yard run in overtime that took him over 100 yards, gave him the touchdown. So I'm expecting the Ravens to sell out to stop Henry. You mentioned Calais Campbell, and also they're going to have Brandon Williams, a nose tackle for him, in the lineup for this game as well. Him and Calais Campbell missed the first matchup in the regular season. And Brandon Williams, he's been on and off the field, and he doesn't put up eye-popping numbers, but he's more of like your space eater, and he eats up double teams. He's very hard to move off the ball. So can these two guys coming into the lineup really make a difference for him? I know we're talking about the pass defense from the Ravens, but, cause pressure from Tannehill. So, yeah, I think – I'm kind of getting ahead of myself and like talking about the keys, but I think Arthur Smith needs to come out with a couple different game plans, and he's going to have to think, it's of course in the realm of possibility for Derrick Henry to get shut down. So he needs to have plays that he's ready to call for this passing offense to get the momentum for this offense.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go, man. I'm not trying to cut you off.
Well, I mean, I'm just wrapping up in how this offense needs to come ready to carry this team should Derrick Henry gets shut down, because I do believe the Ravens are going to sell out to stop Derrick Henry because he embarrassed them last year in the playoffs, quite frankly, and they're pissed off. Like I was saying, this team hates us. This team wants its revenge bad. They probably felt like we stole a Super Bowl away from them last year, and who knows, we may have. But, yeah, so in case we find Derrick Henry getting 15 carries for 45, 50 yards in the first –
that's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not working for us. So we got to be ready to pass the ball. So that's going to be huge for us. And it really didn't get going in that first game until the third quarter, where finally things were working with Corey Davis. Obviously, the A.J. Brown touchdown, who I'm sure the secondary is just having nightmares about and saying, this isn't happening again. I'm expecting the Ravens to tackle much better this game. Yeah, I think the offense, this is going to be a huge game for them. We got to come ready to win this game through the air if we have to.
Now, as far as the advantage goes, you look at the paper statistics and things like that. Obviously, you're going to give it to the 6th best passing defense of the Baltimore Ravens versus the 23 ranked Titans passing offense. But I really, really like what you said about Arthur Smith kind of opening it up. Let's see some more different looks. It sometimes feels like the Titans run Derrick Henry right, Derrick Henry left, play action, A.J. Brown, 10-yard, dig across the middle. I feel like that's kind of the 3 plays that they run all the time. So I would like to see Arthur Smith open it up and maybe give Tannehill some more opportunities for big, deep shots. You think Khalif Raymond in that playoff game last year, it was the perfect dialed-up deep shot. Yeah, and I think we're going to need to see some of those if this Titans passing offense is going to continue to be efficient. But, yeah, I'm going to give this edge to Baltimore.
Okay, man. Wow. Yeah. A lot of respect for that Baltimore, pass defense. I mean, they put up the numbers, and they did have our number. I think they shut down both Davis and Brown in that first half. And then they both ended up, having good games in the second half. But yeah, got to be ready for them. Let's move on, Jake, to the Titans rushing offense. Here we go. The 2,000-yard rushing king leader going up against this Ravens rush defense. And we mentioned a lot of the players on their front 7 as well. But, man, they're really are a solid group, getting back Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams. I mean, they have Derek Wolfe there, who's a solid veteran. Matthew Judon, also, really good player in him. And we'll see what happens with Yannick Ngakoue. And if he's out, that's a big win for the pass offense more so, because he's primarily your pass rusher. But he gets sacks on us, dude. Whether it's with the Jags or then with the Vikings. And I think he had a sack against us with the Ravens this year. And I think he's sacking us with all kinds of different teams. It doesn't matter. He's a problem for us to block every time we play him. So that would be a big plus if Ngakoue does not go. So I don't know. Okay, let's look at the Titans side. This offensive line is getting really banged up, even more so. I mean, we saw right guard or left guard.
Aaron Brewer.
Saffold. Go out with an injury. Yeah, and I was getting there. And then Aaron Brewer now is tested positive for COVID-19. It's good. He's just a backup, so it doesn't immediately hurt you. But if Saffold is going into this game banged up and he goes down again, even missing a few series, it's going to be pretty thin on that offensive line. I think we're then looking at Jamil Douglas, who I think his stats on the season are one botched snap over Derrick Henry. And I can't even remember what game that was, but Ben Jones went out for a play, and then the shotgun snap went over Derrick Henry's head in a Wildcat play. But anyway, so yeah, thin on the offensive line. We got David Kessenberry, holding it down. Say what you want about the pieces that have happened and changed on that left side, but these guys have been together for most of the season, and we have a 2,000-yard rusher. So the chemistry is there. Mm-hmm. I would like to say, it's going to be another third time Derrick Henry owning the Ravens yet again. But like I said before, Jake, I'm expecting this Ravens team to sell out and do everything they can and say we are not letting Derrick Henry beat us. It's going to have to be Ryan Tannehill against, our secondary and their pass offense versus our pass defense. So I don't know. How do you see this matchup? If we're talking advantages, you can't not give it to Henry, like on paper, like considering the past couple games he's had against this team, plus the 2,000-yard season. It'd be foolish to just give it to the Ravens because of what might happen. But
yeah,
how do you see this?
Yes, they have a lot of star power on their front seven, and obviously they're going to sell out to stop Derrick Henry. What team hasn't rolled into Nashville trying to sell out to stop Derrick Henry this year? But yeah, I agree with you, man. It's foolish to think Derrick Henry doesn't, at least go for 80, 90 yards in this game, regardless of what happens, what the score is. I just don't see Derrick Henry being contained to the point where he's an absolute non-factor in this game. It's just not how this Titans offense operates. And yeah, man, this offensive line has been banged up all year. And like you said, there's still a 2,000-yard rusher. So there's got to be some kind of cohesive factor to this Titans offensive line, despite, not having Lawan Saffold being in and out. Saffold is expected to play. I think he said in an interview that he said there's no way I'm missing this playoff game. So you love to see that from a kind of a veteran leader on the offensive line. Yeah, man. I expect Derrick Henry to strike again, and wouldn't it be so sweet? I don't know if it can pull off the hat trick against Baltimore. We'll see. He pulled off the hat trick against Houston, but they're kind of a different animal than Baltimore in the opening round of the playoffs. So I'm going to give the Titans rushing offense and the King the advantage here. It's just 2,000-yard rusher, man. I mean, there's not really much else to say. Derrick Henry's on the outside looking in of the MVP conversation. Aaron Rodgers has it wrapped up. But I tell you what, man, Aaron Rodgers wasn't as sharp as he was this year. We might have an MVP in Nashville this year.
Man, Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, we had to have that terrible game against them, second to last game of the year, which kind of probably swayed a lot of people. Like, okay, Rodgers had a better game against the front runner. It's got to go to Rodgers. But, yeah, whatever. Great season for Rodgers. But, yeah. All right, yeah. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. Let's see another Derrick Henry game. I mean, with this, let's see how far he can take us this year. He took us all the way to the AFC Championship last year. Hopefully, he can carry the load again successfully. So let's move on here, Jake. We got to talk about this Titans pass defense now against this Ravens pass offense. They don't have the numbers, but that's pretty much because they're just running the ball the whole time. Yeah. A lot of the same personnel on both sides of the ball from the last playoff matchup. So I don't know, what is Lamar going to just be throwing dimes to his playmakers?
Justin, I thought he might have been in that Week 11 matchup, but this Titans defense did a great job limiting him in that matchup. Even on the ground, I think he only had under 60 yards rushing, which is going to be another factor. But this Titans pass defense, we're talking about the pass defense here. They stumble into this one 29th. They've been a bottom dweller all year, giving up 277 yards a game. But here's the kicker. I bet most people do not know that Baltimore has the 32nd ranked passing offense as far as yards per game goes with 171. They're last in the league in passing offense as far as yardage goes, Justin. Yeah. Like you said, similar offense to what we saw last year. Lamar Jackson, obviously going to need to get pressure on him, make him uncomfortable. Miles Boykin on the outside, obviously Marquise Hollywood Brown. Des Bryant is now a part of this group, as weird as it sounds to say, bringing that name out of the trenches of the early 2010s. Yeah. And then Willie Snead is questionable, but I saw that John Harbaugh is hopeful and kind of leaning towards Willie Snead playing in this game. Obviously, this wide receiver group isn't quite as scary as some wide receiver groups we could run into in these AFC playoffs. But, it's kind of a weakness on weakness matchup. Lamar loves running the ball. This Ravens offense obviously loves running the ball. And I think it's not the exact same. I think Ryan Tannehill's a better passing quarterback than Lamar Jackson. I mean, he has the stats to back it up, the highlights to back it up. And I think he's a better overall passing quarterback. But it's kind of the same statistical skewing of numbers, I think, with this Baltimore offense as the Titans offense sees. Because if you're going to have a 2,000-yard rusher in Derrick Henry, you're probably not putting up that many passing yards because they're all allotted to your rush offense. And we'll see with Baltimore, their rushing statistics, you'll kind of see why their passing yards dip below. So I'm going to call this one a push, Justin, just because we have been able to make Lamar Jackson uncomfortable in the past 2 matchups against him. And that's going to be the formula to do it again this time. Once he gets flustered and frustrated, we've seen him spiral against this Titans team a couple of times. So, you never know. We can keep hope. And we saw the pass rush get, 4 sacks on Houston last week, albeit it was Houston, but 4 sacks is trending in the correct direction. It's better than
amazing. None. It's amazing. And for comparison's sake, I just looked up the Ravens team stats and sacks. They have 39 on the season. God, what I would give to have a 39 sack defense. Those are game changers right there.
Yep.
I think, what do we have, like 18, 19? It's less than half of whatever they have.
Yeah.
They don't need to necessarily pass the ball. I think that has a lot to do with why they're ranked 32nd in yards per game. But they still put up points, and that's, because they're so effective at running the ball. I don't know if I said this in the intro, but they suddenly, under the radar, have the highest point differential in the NFL. They're like in the plus 180s, which is astronomical. So when they win big. And so, the pass defense. I was going to mention real quick that their tight end is like their best receiving option in Mark Andrews. So that's going to be the key weapon in my eyes to slow down their passing offense. I'm so happy we have Adoree back for the playoffs and playing. He hasn't, him inserted into the lineup, Jake, I don't think has made that much of an improvement on the defensive side of the ball, whether that's still due to the lack of pass rush or scheme related, or maybe Adoree, is not playing really yet at that level where he was with us last year. So we'll see, but I'm just happy to have him and Butler and King in and healthy for this game, along with Byard and Vaccaro. We can talk about their down-ish years from what we're used to, but we still have a healthy secondary coming into this game at full strength against, kind of one of the lesser non-intimidating receiving groups in the NFL. Really just Mark Andrews. That could be a matchup problem for me. So overall, I agree with you. I think this is kind of a push. It's kind of a weakness on weakness. I think you nailed it. So that's all I got to add to that one.
I'm glad you brought up Mark Andrews because, obviously with that kind of less scary, less household name receiving group, Mark Andrews is really Lamar's favorite target. So I think that matchup there, we'll call it a push pregame, but Mark Andrews can open up that middle of the field and kind of make it hell for whoever's matching up on him, be it, you think David Long Jr. or maybe Will Compton gets in on a couple coverage snaps. Pray for whoever's guarding Mark Andrews on Sunday afternoon.
I love the boy, but I hope we don't have Will Compton trying to cover one of the best tight ends in the NFL.
I'll drink to that. You want to take this Titans rush offense against the more scary part of this Baltimore team, their rushing offense?
Yes. It's going to be tough. This Baltimore rush offense, literally the best in the league in terms of yards per game. It's the Lamar show. Once again, for the second straight year, he's eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards. And I have to check my notes again. It says he's a quarterback. But
you don't say.
Yeah, but I don't think that's ever happened for 2 1,000-yard seasons, much less back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for Lamar Jackson. But he's aided by very competent, very solid backfield and J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and now Justice Hill coming along. I guess where's Mark Ingram been? He's been kind of banged up. He's gotten COVID, but definitely not nearly the factor that he was for this team last year. But they're picking right back up at first in the league in rushing. So we got all kinds of weapons coming up against us to try to shut them down. And maybe it's just the Mike Vrabel touch, but he's for some reason, he just has this Ravens number, unlike any other coach in the league. Well, I think the Steelers, swept the Ravens this year, so that's an exception, I guess. But I don't know. Mike Vrabel seems to know how to shut down and slow down this Ravens offense, and it kind of starts on the ground, and they kind of, force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball, throw it to the outside, force him to, use the lesser of all of his abilities. Like, you want to see Lamar Jackson, if you're a Ravens fan, run the read option, keepers and what have you, use his athleticism, use his legs. That's where he can kill you the most. But, I think J.K. Dobbins had a good rushing game against us the first game. I think he had 70-ish yards. I can't remember what Lamar Jackson's total was, but, it was below his
under
average.
60, yeah.
Yeah, it was somewhere below his average. So we're going to have to find a way, once again, to slow these guys down. And if you're a Ravens fan, it's got to be, the third time's the charm. Like, it's the law of averages has to come back eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you keep defeating this very strong team for a third straight time? It's going to be a big game for Jeff Simmons and the boys up front. Daquan Jones and Harold Landry. These guys are going to have to come in and play the game of their lives once again if we're going to pull off this win. Because random disrespect factoid, Titans at home are 3.5-point underdogs right now, I believe.
Home dogs for the opening round of the playoffs. It's kind of right where we like to be, Justin. We didn't have a chance going to Foxborough last year. We didn't have a chance going to Baltimore last year. That's fine. We don't need Vegas or anybody else to tell us that we have a shot. We know that we can come in and win these games. And, it is going to take a hell of a performance by this Titans front seven. They're going to need to tackle well. Oh, my God. And, if Kenny Vaccaro or, Desmond King comes up from the secondary to help and run support, they need to tackle, and not let, Lamar get loose, slip away from a tackle, and then, it could be a house call. So it's going to be a very, very important point to when this front seven gets opportunities to stop the run, that they need to finish that wrap up and get the ball carried to the ground.
Yeah, that's a huge key. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Just Lamar Jackson's so shifty. If you get a hand on him, just close your hand on that jersey and hang on for dear life. We can't have him running free in the open field. Same thing through the passing defense. Your completions are going to happen, obviously, but don't allow yards after catch. Get the receiver down as quickly as possible. No big chunk plays. I know we gave up some in that first matchup in November. I think they had a long pass to a wide open Mark Andrews on a play for a touchdown. So, no big chunk plays, tackle well. Yeah, I think that's a great key to have. So with that being said, I think, by the numbers and just how this Baltimore team is kind of rolling in right now, kind of finding that rushing attack that was so good for them last year, they got to get the advantage against our rushing defense, who really hasn't been looking that great. They had a bad game against the Packers, and I guess game. Ho-hum game against David Johnson and the Texans. So we'll see where that goes.
And no need to try and – it's not a controversial take to say that the Ravens' number one ranked rushing offense gets the advantage here. It's all going to come down to keeping Lamar contained in that backfield, trying to make him to pass to the outside. Obviously, it's kind of a broken record, but that's how you beat Lamar Jackson, is make him throw outside, make him, take uncomfortable shots to his wide receivers and keep Mark Andrews out of the middle, obviously. So, definite advantage to the Ravens rushing offense here.
Boom. All right. Well, last one here, Jake. We got the special teams, which is always a storyline with the Titans. I think we had a good week last week. Sam Sloman, the hero, doinked in the division title for us. So that was great. Brett Kern was back. He had that COVID scare, but he's healthy, and he punted last week. He's good to go this week. And we're now getting back Steven Gostowski. Man, let's just keep it rolling, Steven. Hopefully he didn't, have that week where, lose any momentum, and he's stayed loose while he was out for the game, and he's been kicking well this last month of the season.
That he has, man. And I was pins and needles. I want to say thank God we're getting Steven Gostkowski back, but I don't want to quite say that.
That's a big
because
turn
Sam
for you.
Sloman definitely gave all of Titans Nation a huge heart attack. But shout out to him, man. He didn't miss a kick. came in, hit all of his extra points.
There was a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of extra points.
Line drive looking kicks, but hey, as long as they go through the uprights, us Titans fans can't complain because that's something we haven't had on a consistent basis. But yes, Steven Gostkowski will come back and kick in this game for the Titans. Brett Kern, obviously booting the ball away, trying to flip the field possession-wise. On the Ravens side of things, Justin Tucker, one of the better kickers in the NFL. Dude is damn near automatic underneath, beneath 50 yards, 40 yards. He had the long streak that was snapped this year. One of those announcer jinx kind of things. He's made, XYZ amount from under 40. But Sam Cook is on the COVID list currently, but I think he is expected to come off and possibly punt in this game. But if not, I just think this guy is a great name. The backup punter is Johnny Townsend. That's a great name.
Johnny Townsend,
punter for your Baltimore Ravens. So he'll be punting if he can't go. But expect Sam Cook to boot the ball in this one. I'm going to give the Ravens the advantage just because Justin Tucker alone is absolute game changer.
Yeah,
dude does not miss. And the Ravens are going to have to, or the Titans are going to have to get Justin Tucker to kick a lot in this game, I think, in order to win it. I think it's going to come down to some red zone defense. Maybe foreshadowing a key to the game, Justin. But I'm going to give the Ravens the advantage on this one.
Yeah. We were kind of, I was just saying like, disrespect. We're 3.5-point underdogs coming into this game. We literally, I think, just gave the Ravens more advantages into these key breakdowns than the Titans. So maybe we're also think we're underdogs. But like you said, that's kind of where we like to be. The Titans, anytime they're favorites or they're picked to win a game, they end up coming out flat and dropping a game. So, we like to be here. We like to feel a little bit of that slight disrespect and that underdog mentality going into this game. But I mean, if you want to talk about your keys and score predictions to this game, Jake, what's it going to take for us to get this third straight win against Baltimore?
Yeah, the Titans are underdogs, home dogs. That is that's just it's tough, man. It's tough, but I think it's warranted. This Titans defense has given this team fits all year long. They just squeaked by, a 4-12 Houston team to win the division. It took every bit of Derrick Henry's 250-yard day and a banked-in field goal at the last second to win that game. So I think the spread is justified. I think the disrespect is justified, but this is right where Mike Vrabel likes to have his football team. This kind of disrespect, this kind of counting us out narrative has followed this team through their recent success. All the playoff appearances they've had, they've been counted out before, even the first kickoff has been booted. So I think Mike Vrabel has this team ready. Keys to the game. Justin Tucker needs to attempt 3 field goals in this game.
Wow.
I think the Titans defense needs to clamp down, especially red zone, which they did a fantastic job of against Baltimore in that first half. In their Week 11 matchup, I remember Justin Tucker trotting out for 2 tries, and I think they were both within the 25. So that's going to be an absolute point of importance for this defense. Bend but don't break. That's what we kind of like to say. We saw a little bit of it against Houston, but Deshaun Watson opened the floodgates, and obviously Lamar Jackson can open those floodgates as well. Key number 2, tackle. This team needs to wrap up and take advantages of the opportunities to stop this Ravens run game when they have the chance. I will be absolutely sick if it's a 3rd and 3, Lamar Jackson read option, Harold Landry comes peeling off the edge and he can't quite get him. Lamar escapes and it's, a 40, 50-yard run. I'm going to be absolutely sick to my stomach, Justin, because it's the Titans can be there. They can scheme up. They're obviously going to sell out to stop the Ravens run game, as is the Ravens defense going to sell out to stop the Titans.
Right.
So it's going to come down to capitalizing on those opportunities when they pop up by tackling well.
Yes.
Key number 3, they're going to have to score 30-plus points. I know this sounds like a lot that needs to happen for the Titans to win the game, but this Titans offense is going to have to be the elite offense that we've seen all year long in this game. The Ravens are going to get theirs, especially against this Swiss cheese Titans defense. So you're going to have to put up a lot of points. Derrick Henry is going to need to have a 100-yard game. Ryan Tannehill is not going to have to turn the ball over. It's going to come down to, who gives the other team more opportunities to score the football. Yeah. And so keeping those turnovers at bay and just keeping efficiency up and that elite offense rolling will get the Titans the win in this game. And yes, Justin, it will get the Titans win in this game. I'm going to pick the Titans to upset the Baltimore Ravens in Nissan Stadium this weekend. First hosted playoff game since 2008, where they hosted the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to give the Titans the win here, 38-30.
Man, that's scarily close to what my score prediction was going to be. Man, I do like all your keys. And yeah, this was something I kind of meant to bring up, but I almost forgot, but it's not a big deal anyway. I'm always referring to this rivalry in the past, but Jake, the Titans have hosted, I believe, 4, maybe 5 playoff games in our history. They have lost only 2 of those home games in history, both to the Ravens. This team just has our number in our house. And I mean, that's also a side storyline, is that of all these playoff matchups, it's always the road team that wins because we beat the Ravens in their house in the playoffs. So can this Titans team rally and beat this Ravens team, who historically has had our number in the playoffs? So, we'll see. We'll see if we can get back on track, of course. My key to this game, it's kind of what I was referring to earlier in the video. Arthur Smith, I want to see we might have to pull out some things that the Ravens aren't prepared for, that maybe we haven't run for in the season. I think Mike Vrabel's definitely going to have some things cooking and brewing up for this game. I'm not saying like a Derrick Henry throw to a Tebowing throw to Corey Davis, but we saw that against the Ravens last year. That really helped turn the tide. Some trick plays, maybe a fake special teams play, some unique formations that have not been put on film, and the Ravens won't be ready for it or know what to do. I think some of those things are going to happen. And I think Arthur Smith is going to have to come ready to win this game, if not on the ground, then through the air. I think I'm kind of honing in just on the offense because, man, I got to be honest, I do agree with your defensive keys and how we're going to have to slow this team down. But I don't know if they're capable of it. I don't know if we can. Surprisingly, in that first game, they only scored 24 points on us. Like, dude, that somehow is one of our best defensive performances of the season. I mean, anytime we're holding the other team below 30, it's one of our best performances. So,
yeah, it's come to that. That. And I will say, Justin, if the Baltimore Ravens score 24 points on Sunday, the Titans will win the football game.
Oh yeah, I agree. If they can have another repeat performance, that would be huge. But Baltimore's going to be ready for this game. This isn't going to be a Baltimore coming out flat like they did in the playoffs last year. They had the bye week; it kind of interrupted their flow. Well, now they're flowing, and they don't have the bye week, so they're going to be looking to continue that flow. So I'm expecting them to put up a lot of points. And another thing with the offense, of course, we can't turn the ball over. We can't give up free possessions to this Ravens team, like you were saying for one of your keys. It's going to have to almost be that perfect game for the offense. I mean, we need points on just about every drive. And hopefully, the defense can come up with some stops, force some punts, force some field goal attempts. Like you were saying, bend but don't break. I mean, I know I said a mouthful right there, and that's a lot of different keys to come together for a Titans win. But, I think that's what we're going to have to do. A lot of things are going to have to go our way. We're going to have to come out and execute, get off the ball quick. Don't come out flat. Another key is what Titans team is going to show up in this first half. I mean, if the Ravens jump out 21-3, I don't want to be involved in one of those games. That's where the Ravens will love to be with that rushing attack. They can just bleed out the rest of the game. So got to come out fast. Offense has got to be ready to change some things up if we need some more a momentum shift. So, I'm picking the Titans. I think we get it done. I think some things are going to have to go our way, as well as us just playing a really good game overall. But I have confidence, man. I'm optimistic.
Sure you don't sound as bombastic and optimistic.
We can do it, Jake. Come on. I am excited. It's just a lot of butterflies and a lot of nervousness. I mean, man, like we were saying, that this team and this offense has a Super Bowl window, and we kind of watching this defense has been saying it may not happen this year, but if we can get a defensive coordinator to really bring this defense back to at least average, and keep the offense the same, this team has a good chance to win it all next year. But why not this year? We can go on a run. Hopefully the defense can lock down, make some plays. And unfortunately, Jake, Arthur Smith was asked something about head coaching interviews and stuff, and he was like, my focus is right now. I'll worry about all that stuff after the season, but I'm locked into what we're doing right now. He's gone, dude. That just tells me, like, yeah, he's definitely taking interviews because he's looking to become a head coach. So that's a discussion for the offseason. But just saying that we have this window here right now, and we can seize it, Jake. How's that for optimism? Why not
I like
us?
it.
Why
I
not
like
now?
it. There we go, Justin. That's
Let's
what I'm
do
talking
it.
about.
I had the Titans winning 38-31, which is 1 point off of what your prediction was. So that's kind of boring. You know how weird playoffs are sometimes.
Yeah.
This could very well be like a 23-20 game, and it's like, okay, that was unexpected. But I'm expecting both teams to hit over 30. Hopefully, Titans come out with more. So let's get it done. Let's hope for some other wild card upsets so that we can host another game against it would either be the Browns or the Colts, or the Colts I think would go to Kansas City since they would be the lowest remaining seed. But let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's keep hosting home playoff games. It's exciting. It's an exciting time, Jake.
Yeah, definitely love what you said about Art Smith. Obviously, he's probably gone in the offseason. As much as Titans fans wanted to cling to him and try and hold his foot as he left out the door, I think he's gone. Art Smith is going to have to open the box. This is his head coaching resume. Yeah. We're going to have to see some trick plays, Justin. I hope Blockhead Vrabel doesn't make an appearance, but I would like to see some different looks and different trick plays and things. I really, really love that key. You think back to the Derrick Henry jump pass. How huge was that? It was kind of the tipping point in that game where you're like, holy shit.
I think, that was what
the Titans are going to win this game.
Like 14-6 to 21-6. So that was like, now it's a 2-possession game late in the second half. Like this thing could really happen.
Yeah.
So
we're going to need to see more of that.
Yeah, and the timeliness and when to call those plays is so crucial too. I really like what you just said about Arthur Smith, how every game that from here on out is going to probably be his last game as the Titans offensive coordinator. So just let it loose, throw it up, throw it all out there. Just be like, hey, NFL, here's what you're getting with me as head coach. Check out this play, here and there. So maybe we'll see some things we haven't seen before. But that'll be exciting to look for that.
Would love to see it, man. All right, dude. Anything else to take us to the barn other than a tighten up? I like the optimism finish to this video. It was feeling a little shaky there, but
you brought it back out of me. Yes, I'm excited and confident now. That's perfect. That's the magic of Titans too, Jake. Doesn't everyone out there watching us feel optimistic now? Feel the energy, feel the vibes.
It's the vibe. Big trust, tighten up.
Yeah,
that's what I'm.
There's been no talking from the Ravens locker room this time around. How Earl Thomas was like, oh, they didn't seem interested in tackling him. So they're much more low key, which is subdued, the smarter way to go into this. Let's not give them any more bulletin board material.
Yeah.
With that said, big trust, tighten up, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Enjoy Super Wild Card Weekend, as they've dubbed it. And let's cheer on the two-tone blue on Sunday afternoon. Let's go get a win and advance to the divisional round.
Let's do it. Tighten up, y'all. It's playoff time.
Woo-woo.
You guys have a good one. We'll be back with the recap on Monday, probably.
Hopefully it's a still happy, optimistic recap. Peace.
Hopefully. Peace out, y'all.